a live view from our reporter stationed throughout southeastern Louisiana.
Yeah, we want to check in now and give you a better look at what we're seeing across our area. And that starts with Amelia Strahan, who's been giving us a great picture of just everything she is going on. I think you're still there outside the levee and where you're showing a ton of that brush, and I think you saw a canoe that had been on top of all of that debris there in the roadway. So checking with you now, Amelia, what are you seeing?
Yeah, like you mentioned, still in Cocodrie, we're on the back side of that levee. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a closer look. Last time I was talking to you, I was up on the levee. You can see now that you're down here, just kind of how high it is piled up. There are some buoys over on this side, and it actually looks like there's a small, maybe table, like a wooden table. Definitely the waters would have had to rise pretty high to move that all the way over into the middle of the street. The canoe, like you mentioned, I think it's maybe a kayak, a little smaller than a canoe, but you know, all of that is just kind of parked right here in the middle of the road. And if you look really closely along the levee, you can see that brown line, which we think is where the water was before it started to subside. So it looks like it's maybe, I don't know, about 5 feet, give or take. But yeah, it's definitely not a road you want to get anywhere near, you know, especially not this morning whenever it was dark. The brush actually covers these barriers that have the blinking lights. So it's an area that you definitely don't want to be driving around. We're parked on the other side and then we walked around. This side, it would have, like I mentioned earlier, this would have been the side that evacuated. So we haven't seen anyone out and about. We haven't seen any cars, which of course is a good thing. That means they made the right decision and left town. But as I mentioned last time, this is just what we're seeing right here. We know that there was more flooding back, you know, towards this side of Cocodrie. So there's probably a lot more of this seaweed kind of covering parts of the road, or there may be other things obstructing the road. So definitely don't want to get out on the road, especially not right now. Just not a good time. You don't know what you're going to run into. I checked back in with Terrebonne Parish officials to see if that curfew had been lifted or if they plan to lift it anytime soon. It is still in place, and they said it would be in place until they let us know. So definitely want to stay home. I've mentioned a few times that on the way here, coming from Houma and Dulac to where we are right here in Cocodrie, we ran across quite a few trees that had fallen down that were blocking part of the road. And the roads down here, if you've driven on them, you know that they're pretty narrow. There's not much room for two people, two cars. So it's definitely best to abide by that curfew, stay in, stay with your family, and stay safe. Reporting live from Cocodrie, Amelia Strahan, WWL Louisiana.
Great, Amelia, thank you. Quite dramatic seeing where that water line was there along the wall behind her. Amelia said some 5 feet it could seem, at least from her vantage point, which is in line with what we've been hearing from our meteorologists and whatnot in terms of the storm surge. Where she is down there in Cocodrie, you can't go much further than that, so it's a lot of marsh. And that's where Amelia has been reporting throughout the morning, or throughout the night, I should say, for us there.